Welcome back, guys and girls, to another episode of Does What It Says. And on this episode, we are going to be installing a Hobbywing 60 amp waterproof speed controller and the Dumborc X6 receiver. And they will be going into an MJX 14209 HYPERGO bad boy car. So let's have a quick look at what we're installing. That's the receiver, that's the Dumborc, and this is the Hobbywing 60 amp electronic speed controller, so ESC. Now this is not a straightforward install, we're going to have to customise it a little bit, so we've got to make a little part up, which is very easy, and I'll run through exactly what you need to do, because when you get this electronic speed controller it won't fit in the car, okay, because there's a few bits in the way. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get cracking, shall we? Right, first thing guys, we're going to start disassembling. So undo these 4 screws. Let's open up this receiver box. Don't forget guys, put the screws where you know they're going to go back into the same place. So keep them 4 screws separate so you know where they go. Or like I said before in previous videos, you can put the screws back in the holes now you've taken the cover off. Now when you do take that cover off, as you just saw, I rolled it off. Yeah, so roll it towards the direction that the cables go in, exactly the same as this. You roll this receiver out, so it's got a sticky pad on it, just lift it up and roll it out, and all the cables should come off nice and easily because they've just been stuck in with some silicone sealant, that's all. But it should be absolutely fine. Once you've done that, you want to locate channel number 2 and pull that connector out. See that? Channel number 2, that's for your electronic speed controller. Next you want to remove the connections to the motor. Get all 3 of those out. And once they're out, you want to disconnect the connection to the fan. So the power that goes to the fan, it's in the receiver. So pull that cable out. And that should be your electronic speed controller, completely disconnected and ready to remove. So there's the 3 cables coming from it. Next up, you get your Phillips head screwdriver. And there's 2 screws that you got to undo either side of the speed controller. One there, one just the other side hidden out of view, and that one just there. Once they're out, there's nothing else holding that in, it will literally just pull straight out. Now this is where the problem starts. Now, this speed controller is massive compared to the one that we've just taken out, and as you can see, it will not fit in there. If I could show you a side-by-side comparison, get the other speed controller. So the original one next to the new one. Look at the size difference. So guys, we need to do a little bit of adjustments on this. I don't like cutting things out, to be honest. I like keeping them original as much as I can. And you've got this screw lug and this one here, which is where the other screws come from. And I don't really want to cut them off. You can cut them off if you want, but I don't really want to do that. So what I've done is I come up with a small customization, or a small custom part rather, which we're going to make up. And we're going to install on here, so I can, like a little platform, and I can then stick that new speed controller directly into the car without cutting anything out. Keeps it all original, so if you wanted to put all the original stuff back in, you can do. Now what you need is a little bit of plastic, which is what I've got here, which is a card holder, an old card holder I found sitting in a drawer somewhere, and basically a pair of scissors, and you just want to chop it into a square, so you'll get a rough idea of it. You just start cutting. Right, reason I've chosen this is 1, because it's see-through, and 2, because it's a bit flexible. Now when it's see-through, it means that when I lay it onto the car, I can see where them screw lugs were. So I can drill 2 holes where them screw lugs were just by marking through one side of it, as you'll see in a minute. So get this square cut. Quite easy to do. Keep your fingers out of the way, obviously. You just want to place that in, get it as accurate as you can, and just cut one corner off, just so it slides in nicely around the something in the way. I've forgotten what it was, but there's a piece of plastic sticking out, so it will just sit nicely there, and just trim it off roughly level with the edge of the car chassis. So you'll end up with something like that, which you can easily see the screw lugs through it, and it's nice and flexible as well, which is good. So just place it on top and get a little marker or a pen. I got a little pen, not the best, but at least it marks it, and you can see where the screw lugs are, and just mark where the holes were. Double check it. That's why I make sure that it was a see-through one, so I could do this. You can always use like a Tupperware box or lid like I've got in the top left hand picture. You could use one of those lids as well. That would be a good bit of plastic to use for it, nice and flexible, and again see-through, or you can use any material that you want. It's entirely up to you guys. This is what I'm using. And then the old Dremel comes out, the old Dremel 4000. Basically, don't hold this when you drill through it, just in case it slips and it will spin round the drill bit. So hold it with a pair of pliers and just very slowly take your time and just drill 2 holes out. Once you've got that done, clear all the burrs off from the other side, so just make sure it's flat and no bits of plastic sticking through. And then what you want to do is you want to get 2 of these hex nuts, hex adjusters. You should have a couple spare. If you've been following my other videos, I removed these because yeah, basically I just replaced them for some aluminium ones, which you could screw on and bolt onto your axles. So you should have some of these knocking around. If not, then you can use whatever you want. But this is what I'm using in this video because they actually fit perfectly where we're going to go to. Takes a little bit of sanding, and you can see where I've put one. I put it on that hexagon shaped holes just below where the electric speed controller is going to fit, and this one as well. Just double check it, make sure it fits in the hole. So it does, nice and tight, which is good. So you want to stick these down. So get the old sellotape double-sided pads out. You can use 3M pads, to be honest with you, are a lot more sticky than these, but these are very good. And that's an easy way to trim them up. You haven't got to try and cut it round and stick it on. Just stick it on and then trim round, pull the back off, stick it in the hole. It's exactly the same how I done the first one, which is installed, that you can see, and just make sure they're both pushed down nice and tight, just like that. So they basically are going to stop it from wobbling and give it a little bit of support. So get a couple of sticky pads, and you want to stick some on top of those now. Don't worry about cutting these out. There's no need to. Just literally stick one there, stick one next to it on top of the other one. And then you want to get your customized plate, pull these off, it is a bit fiddly to do this, but just take your time, it's no problem. And then your plate should stick nice and comfortably just on top of it. So screw that down. And that is basically your new position for your electronic speed controller. Make sure it's nice and solid, which it is. And now you can see that them two spaces underneath there are just to give it a little bit of stability. It's held on with screws, and you just layer the top of that with some more double-sided sticky pads. This creates a nice base for your electronic speed controller to sit on, holds it firmly in place, and then all you got to do is position it. Now when you do this, guys, you want to have it sitting far enough back so it misses all of the steering links, and you want to have it sticking like 3mm over the side of the chassis, so towards the camera. So where you're looking, you want to have it 3mm over, so flush down there, and 3mm just past the chassis that way. So you can see it's out of the way of all the steering linkages, and just give it a push down, and that's it. That's your speed controller stuck into your car. Next up, you want to connect your speed controller back into the receiver. So find the cable that comes out and stick it back into channel 1, ensuring all the cables are the correct way round. Okay, so black's to the outside, white to the inside. Right guys, this next section is basically connecting the motor to the electronic speed controller. So what you're going to realise is the connections on the speed controller are slightly bigger than the connections on the motor. So they will just fall out instantly. So there's two ways I've done this in the past. One is the way you're looking at now, which I'd wrap tin foil around, made sure it was absolutely tight, and then when you push the connectors on, it completely fills all the space, makes a very good connection. If you haven't got the parts right now, you can do this, and just make sure that when you do push it on, as you can see here, it's extremely tight. Yep. One major thing on this is you need to make sure there's no tin foil sticking out past your connection, so nothing can touch and short. This is what you really need. So you've got a 3.5mm female to 4mm male. So the 3.5mm are the connector sizes on the MJX motor, and the Hobbywing has 4mm. And it's just as simple as you're looking at now. Just connect them up. So red goes to blue, blue goes to yellow, and black goes to white on the motor. Simple, easy, and that is the best way to do it, the correct way to do it. Alright guys? Now I got these connectors after I'd finished making this video. So this little clip, what you're looking at now, it's that just shows me putting the connectors on. That's what you really want to do when you do this. So for the moment, I've got tin foil on, and that's what you're looking at, which is still okay to do, but do get those connectors, okay guys? Now just a quick test, make sure it's all working. Just move those cables out of the way before they get eaten up by the tyres. So that's all working good. Right guys, what's coming next is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the original receiver. So this is the original receiver. So most of you guys are putting one of these speed controllers on. If you've still got the original receiver, stick it back in this box, roll it back in, stick it down on the sticky pad, put the lid on, do the screws up, and that is literally tidy the cables up. That's you guys done and dusted. But don't forget to move the power on and off switch to the front of the servo. Alright, so facing the front of the car. So unless you're installing a Dumborc RC receiver, you guys are done and dusted. Go and take them out somewhere, bash them around, smash them to bits, do what you're going to do, guys. And don't forget, like and subscribe if you want to. For you guys trying to install a Dumborc RC, what you're going to find is it doesn't fit in that waterproof casing, so you can take that casing apart if you want. Just a small screwdriver, you prise the unit apart. It's just got 4 small plastic clips on it, they're very easy to undo. Once you've got it started, just slide the screwdriver around, keep on twisting it, and it should come out pretty easy. Yeah, and you can put that inside the waterproof cover, or you can leave it inside as it is without taking it apart, and you can just place it somewhere else, which is what I do, to be honest. As you'll see at the end of this video, I actually place this on the rear of the car, and I use that waterproof box as just a cable tidy, really, to be honest. Anyway, if you are going to install it, this is what you do. You undo this, and once you've got your final part unclicked, careful as you undo it, because the cable goes through. So you've got an aerial that sticks through, and just very lightly pull it, slide that through, and that board should just drop out. So you connect your cables back up. So you get the servo in channel 1, your electronic speed controller in channel 2, your lights for your body, you can put it in channel 3 or the third one down, and the fan for the motor you can put into channel 4. Once you've got them connected, place your receiver in the waterproof boxing, put the cables through where they're meant to go, make sure the aerial is hanging out, and just place the lid back over it, screw it back up. Before you do the screws up though, guys, if you're going to have the gyro activated, the small button on the side of the receiver, you need to push that 3 times. That will activate the gyro, which can be controlled on your controller, basically your handset. Alright, so don't forget, before you do these screws up, make sure you tap that button 3 times, and then your gyro will be activated. And if you don't want to use a gyro, you can just turn it down on the controller. So it's best to just tap the button 3 times, have it activated, and then you've got the choice to have it on or off on your controller. Now, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, little tip for you guys is your old receiver, what you're using, take the batteries out, and the receiver fits straight in the back of it, so it don't get lost. So you can have a receiver and your transmitter all in one place at all times. Clip that back up, job done. Never to lose a receiver again. Right guys, you don't have to do it. This is just literally how I do it. I've got the gyro on the rear just because I use it in other cars. So I use this waterproof case basically as a cable tidy. So you got the power switch on the front, electronic speed controller installed. You're using the waterproof casing just as a cable tidy. The gyro is installed on the back, all working absolutely as it should do. Voila! And obviously you should have those 3 connectors connecting your motor to your electronic speed controller. Alright guys, so if you've been following my other videos, where you should be at now should be a new servo. So you've upgraded servo, 23 gram servo, all the steering links for it. You should have the correct oils in the front and rear diffs. You should have a new electronic speed controller, a new receiver, with all the correct cabling, everything done absolutely perfect. I put new hex hubs on it as well, so it steers better, it handles better, it goes better, the wheels are not going to fall off, and it's basically maintained perfect. So hope you liked the video guys. Please like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one.